Well, Big U and the whole Rolling 60s indictment. And this is pretty much like in your backyard.
Yeah.
All this is happening. I know Big U. I've always been cool with Big U. I've said this over and over again. He did an interview on Vlad TV, got millions of views, probably his biggest interview ever.
His first interview, right?
Might be, yeah. Might be his first interview. And we kept in touch. We would talk to each other a few times a year, always very cool, friendly conversations. He's never tried to make me check in. He's never tried to extort me or anything else like that. Like, he could have, you're in LA, you're going to need to kick up this much each month. Nothing at all like that, at all. So when I heard the news, my jaw dropped. Now, number one, were you surprised?
I was surprised, but I was a lot less surprised than I would be by most federal RICOs because I had Christopher Lovejoy, Wack100, and Loose Cannon, really, to a certain extent, all kind of teasing this happening before it happened. Christopher Lovejoy was doing all these Instagram reels talking about it, and Wack was backing him up. Wack was talking about it. So, it's kind of weird to be sitting there on a podcast, and I got somebody like Wack telling me all about this murder that Big U's going to get charged with, and I'm just thinking, like, how the fuck do you know this before it's been announced by the cops? Normally the cops, or the feds in this case, want to make a big splash when they announce something so that it's more difficult for the people to make a run for it or to hide evidence, etc. And then one day it actually happened. And it was especially dramatic because the night before, I had finally got Loose Cannon and Brig Baby, who are both Rolling 60s members, but, it's a very large organization. So they were at odds for a long time. We finally got them on camera together for a nice podcast on the No Jumper show. And then 7 hours later, maybe 8 hours after we finished, their houses get raided and everybody gets picked up, which was very shocking.
I mean, do you think that Wack talking about this murder and all this other stuff ultimately caused the feds to really look at it more carefully and turn it up a little bit? Because, well, look, it's already going viral on YouTube. Let's just take advantage of it and let's clout chase along with everyone else. Because, for example, we were just talking before the interview. I'm having this whole situation happen around me with Swerve Strickland versus Booker T and so forth. And I kind of was blamed as instigating this whole situation, which is nonsense, by the way. Me and Swerve have been talking. He was like, I stand behind what I say. Like, you didn't instigate anything. You asked a question, you quoted Booker, and I responded. But in the process, I brought up this guy, Chasen Rance, who was a registered sex offender with like a 12 to 15-year-old. And I brought up pictures of Booker T with this guy, and the next day, he was arrested for violating his registered sex offender guidelines. You're not going to tell me that's a coincidence. You're not. Like, this conviction was from way back. And suddenly, because his picture's all over and Yahoo Sports and Sports Illustrated is doing stories about what I'm saying, suddenly his probation officer was like, well, let's look into him. So do you think that Wack constantly talking about an unsolved murder that he claims Big U's involved in got the feds looking into this unsolved murder that Big U's allegedly involved in?
It was kind of the other way around because Wack didn't know who the kid Rayshawn was. Wack didn't know anything about the possibility that this kid getting murdered had anything to do with Big U, aside from the fact that Wack had somehow got on the phone with the mother of the victim, and the mother had told Wack that the police or the feds had confided in her that when they found Rayshawn's body and they did the autopsy, that they found Big U's DNA under his fingernails, which I don't believe that is actually supported by
we talked about
indictment.
This when all of us did the round table. We talked about this. The paperwork says that the DNA under the victim's fingernails are inconclusive.
Right.
They may be Big U's, but it's inconclusive. But they're definitely not the other guys.
But regardless, the victim's mother did tell Wack that, and I believe made a TikTok at one point, and that was a lot of what Lovejoy and Wack were basing this on. And so them drawing more attention to it, could it maybe have caused the feds to hurry up and do the RICO before they might have wanted to? Possibly. Did they see Luce and Brick Baby both on a podcast together the night before, and did that make them want to hurry up and do the RICO a little bit earlier? It's possible. But that being said, it's not like this was a street thing that Wack knew about. It was like Wack knew about it only in the sense that he heard stuff from someone associated with the victim. So Big U actually caught an additional charge for intimidating witnesses or something along those lines, because he made an Instagram video off his wife's phone right before he turned himself in which he was talking into the camera. And he said, like, y'all don't talk to these people. He basically blamed Lovejoy and Wack for getting him caught up, which is kind of silly. And but he also made it clear that he didn't want people cooperating based on him. And that was ruled, or that he's being charged, it hasn't been ruled, but that he's being charged with the idea that that was him basically trying to intimidate witnesses and whatnot.